Good morning, everyone. Welcome to 45 minutes of yoga. So a fairly easy session. We've got some standing work, we've got some seated work. Please look after yourself. If you have any body parts that need a little bit of extra care, make sure you do that. Use towels, use pillows, use props, make yourself comfortable. We'll be doing some standing work, we'll be doing some floor work, and a good balance of mobility and strength. My name's Claire, lovely to have you here. So let's get started. We're going to start in a position called pose of the child. So pop over onto your hands and knees. You can have your feet tucked with your little toe pads on the ground, or you can have them untucked, it's your choice. But we're just going to rock back and forward a few times on our knees. So press yourself back and feel the closing of the knee and the hip, and then come forward. And if you want to work breath with that, you can breathe out as you rock back and breathe in as you rock forward. Generally speaking, in yoga, we like to do the breath and the movement together. Sometimes that's a little challenging. So step one, maybe pay attention to the physical body. This time, hold it back. And pose of the child is when you let your arms reach forward and let your head rest down onto the ground. And stay there and take a few breaths. So you can keep your toes tucked. You can even bring your arms backward a little bit. And just think about a long, smooth inhale and exhale. So keep yourself on the ground for another couple of breaths. So inhale, feel the ribs expand. Exhale, feel the core contract to drive the air out. And do that again. Big, beautiful breath in. That looks great. And then exhale, squeeze your core and push the air out. From here, press yourself back up onto that all fours position. So be steady. Make sure your hands are under your shoulders and knees are under your hips. From here, we're going to make some rolling cat-cows. So we'll start with a tuck of the tail and start to feel each bone individually move upwards toward the ceiling. Gently drop your head. That's your exhale. Then as you inhale, lift the tailbone back up. Feel a ripple run through your spine, feeling the chest open. The arch of the back is just gentle, it's not forced. And do keep pulling the belly in at the same time. Do that a couple more times. Maybe close your eyes and just go on an internal journey. The first step of our safety in yoga is to feel your body. Pay attention to all the little messages. Notice which ones feel comfortable and which ones feel stressful, and stay away from stress. Go for one more round. So we're just starting by getting movement in the bones, getting awareness of the breath, and getting our attention into our physical body. We're going to press back in your own time to that pose of the child. Knees folding. This time reach your hands ever so slightly across to one side. You're getting a little sideways C-shaped stretch with the ribs. You can let your head rest back down again and take a deep breath in. Feel the rib cage expand. Push the air out and just feel comfortable. Do that again. A long, beautiful breath in. Press the air out. You're going to walk your hands to the other side. So make a little sideways C shape to the other side. And once again, let your head rest and take a couple of deep breaths in there. And so you are exploring your body. How do your shoulders feel when you reach them forward? How does your back feel when you fold it? How do your knees feel? Come back to the center again. Press yourself up onto hands and knees. So half of a dog pose is called a puppy pose. You're going to walk your hands forward. This time you're going to dive your head and ribs down toward the floor like a great big ski jump. Maybe your head reaches the ground, maybe not. But do try and lift your tail. So you're trying to turn your hips upward, turn your little butt cheeks up so you create a big scoop downward through your lower spine. And then breathe. So push out to your arms. Pull back to your tailbone whilst you gently lift it up. And then as you exhale, just see if you can let your ribs drop. This is a fantastic movement if you get a little humped and slumped and round shouldered. press yourself back up. Now, if you don't want to do dog pose, just go back and do that one again. That's good. So tuck your toes under, lift your hips and fold back. So take your hands really anchored and flat and wide, and you can keep the knees bent like that if you wish to, or you can straighten them just a little bit more, or you can walk from one side to the other. We call this pedaling. So you're pedaling through your ankles, and as you do it, just have a look at your knee and your toes and check that your knee bends to the front of your body and the knees are not buckling in or buckling out. Come to stillness in your dog pose. Think hand, hand, foot, foot, very steady, softening through your knees and elongate your spine. Close your eyes if you wish to, get that internal focus and just feel how your body manages this position. So in all our yoga poses, you may be challenged by flexibility, which is just a tightness in the muscle. You may be challenged by strength, so your muscles will shake. And you may be challenged by joint tightness, and you kind of feel stiff in your joint as you move. On your next breath in, come forward and put your knees on the ground, back into that pose of the child. Breathe out, breathe out, breathe out. Now, you're going to bring yourself forward and lower yourself with control as you exhale all the way down. Have your hands beside your shoulders. Inhale, drag your hands back, lift your upper back. This is like a baby cobra. Exhale, forehead to the ground. Repeat that a couple of times. That's it. So really pull back and squeeze your elbows together. And then exhale, release. One last time. Big breath in, squeeze through the shoulders, press strongly through your hands, lift your belly, tuck your toes, press back into dog pose. So we're going to do that a couple of times. We're going to come forward to a high push-up, knees or toes, push back into pose of the child, feeling how comfortable that should be by now. Drag yourself forward and lower yourself down to the ground, trying not to fall. Cobra or even an up dog if you know it. That's good. So just pull through. And as you exhale, really strong through the core as you lift and press back. You have one more like that. One thing, always feel free to work at your own pace. Push back into pose of the child as you exhale. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, lower. So your breath guides your movement speed. Little baby cobra. Sometimes you might find I'm too slow. Exhale, push up, lift off your knees into dog pose and hold. Sometimes you might find that I'm a little fast. Never let that worry you. It's your practice, it's your body, it's your breath. And I'm just guiding you into different shapes. On your next inhale, take your right leg in the air. Feel what that does to your left leg. Just hold for a breath or two and push that airborne back. It can be really high, it can be low, but just think about squaring the hips and really working that left leg calf. Then look forward, take a breath in, step your foot all the way to your hands. If it doesn't get there, pick it up, drop the back knee to the ground. So come to your little fingertips like little spider fingers and pull yourself forward. Give yourself that beautiful stretch right through the front of the hip. And as you exhale, press. Now, if you want to, you can lift the back knee in the air or you can keep it down. And with your right arm, shoot it forward as you inhale. Keep reaching it forward and lift it up to the ceiling and you'll find you twist. And we're really trying to twist the rib cage, yeah? So your back is long. And as you exhale, just gently release the hand. Do that 2 more. So you can be super slow as you reach it forward, or maybe you go a little bit faster and get 3 in. It's your choice. We've got 1 more. When you've done your last one, you're going to stay both hands on the ground. Back knee can be down or up, and then rock back and try and let that front leg straighten just a little bit, yeah? So feel free to shuffle around and adjust your feet position. So you're feeling the hamstring right now, which is this big bulky muscle at the back of your thigh. Take 1 more breath in and then gently place the back knee on the ground or maybe put it on a pillow or a towel. Press yourself up so your hands are on your thigh, and then with your front hands, push your thigh bone forward. Then feel the muscles running right through the length of your spine. Lift yourself up, lift yourself up, lift yourself up. So that's beautiful stretch for that back leg hip. As you exhale, bend into the front knee. Then reach your arms up high, take a breath, maybe go back a little bit. Spin your hands all the way down to the floor as you exhale. Lift the back knee. Find your dog pose as you exhale. So reach out to your arms and press through your feet. 4 points on the ground, yeah? So you've got 4 big paws. Balance your weight. Notice the right hands are flat, they're wide. Your feet, your hips are in line. So check your little toes. Are they in line with your knees? Are your knees in line with your hips? Then inhale, come forward again, pop your knees back on the ground, back into pose of the child like we did before as you exhale. Then inhale, pull yourself forward, carry your body weight to the ground with control. Cobra or up dog. So you're using the upper back muscles to lift. There should be no pressure in the lower back. Press yourself up, back into dog pose. This time take your left leg high in the air and square the hips. It can be low, you can lift it a little bit higher and feel what that does to that right leg calf. So maybe even bend that right knee and gently press the heel or straighten it a little bit and then be as strong as you can. As you lift that leg, take a breath. You're going to look forward like you did on the other side, step that foot right through your hands. You can have the back knee on the ground and then wiggle and jiggle around, lengthen. Pull the shoulder heads away from the ears so the neck is really long. Feel free to lift that back knee up to be strong. Yeah, that's good. So be really strong, like squeeze that back thigh. Beautiful. And then with your left arm, reach it forward, 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 forward. So notice what this does. It kind of pulls all the rib bones apart. And so that when you start to twist, you lift the arm up, the whole body will turn. And the belly stays facing the floor and then very gently release. You've got 2 more like that. So you can have that back knee down. You can have that back knee up and just kind of notice how does your shoulder feel as you move? How does your leg feel? So make the movement really smooth, make it enjoyable. And on your last one, you're going to gently fold back, straightening that front knee just a little bit. So now you feel a beautiful stretch in the hamstring. You can move your hips a little bit from side to side if you feel comfortable. And when you're ready, when you feel good, you're going to gently come forward and pop that back knee on the ground. Slide your way up, place your hands on your front thigh. And you can use that front thigh and really push that thigh bone away. And so now it's the back one. So protect your lower back. So you pull the belly in all the time. You can squeeze that back glute. You can even tap a towel under just a little bit if you feel anything through your back. Press forward, so you're getting a combination of that front thigh right up into the hip. And then take a breath, reach your arms up, maybe go vertical spine, maybe there's a baby back bend, and then exhale, bring your hands to the floor. Take a breath in, step back into your dog pose. One last time, we're going to do the inhale, knees on the ground, back into pose of the child as you exhale, lovely. And then come forward. So think about breath and movement, carry yourself down with control, pull yourself into that little cobra. So you press off your hands and lift your ribs. That's good. And then be strong as you lift up over your knees, tuck your toes, back into dog pose. So we'll just move on a little bit from there. We'll stay with what we've been doing and add on. So this time, take your right leg high in the air. I've got my left leg in the air. Don't worry about that. That's all face you. Step your foot all the way through your hands again. Knee down or knee up. Reach your arm forward and twist again. So lift and rotate as you inhale. Bring the hand to the floor as you exhale. Do 2 more. So inhale. Can you make the breath just a little bit smaller? Exhale. 1 more breath in as you inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to straighten that front leg up just a little bit. So we're back in that beautiful front leg hamstring. From here, we're going to make a warrior, so a strength-based movement. So come forward, spin your back heel so the toes face the side of the mat. anchor the outside edge. Reach forward with your front arm. It's like a big cartwheel. It picks you up and it presses you down into a nice deep warrior. So think about lifting through the belly, pressing your front knee out, and being super anchored down through that back thigh bone. Reach your arms. So we're going to straighten both legs, bring your hands up as you do that, and tip slightly to your back leg for that beautiful side stretch. Open your arms, bend the front knee, look to your front hand and sink. Do that again. So it's a big, beautiful inhale with a tip back, back, back. Inhale as you lift and then gently bend. Can you do that just one more? So big breath in as you lift. Take a gentle little tip back as you exhale. Inhale as you lift and sink. Good, you're going to reach forward now and press that front elbow on your thigh and lift up your back arm. And you're in a side angle. So this is still a warrior. So warrior means strong. So both feet press. Trying to get a vertical push with that front leg, like down. So it's not just the quad. You want push down, get you glued on that front leg. And then drive out through the back leg. And just feel that if you push out through that back leg, you just feel more comfortable. So you don't need to use that bottom arm too much. So we've got a bit of a rest moment coming up, a little bit of a release. Take one breath. Spin your hands to the floor. We're going to pause here. I'm going to take your front foot and step it and tuck it in. This is called a pigeon pose. So be nice to your front knee. So some of you will like to pull that front heel forward, and some of you will like to tuck it in. Feel free to put a pillow under your hip because we're going to stay here for a few breaths. So let yourself sink down onto the ground and just notice how good your body feels right now. So feel the changes that occur. And so over time, you can really start to figure out what are the best yoga poses for your body. And the idea is to feel good at the end, like feel more freedom in the movement. Definitely more relaxation. So for 3 quiet breaths. And just notice where you drift to. One of the good things about yoga is developing concentration. We start with concentration on the body. So when you find yourself drifting, just come back to the physical sense. Bring yourself back up as you inhale, press back into your dog pose. So we have the push up to pose of the child again. So inhale, come forward, push back to pose of the child and just pause this time and take 3 nice deep breaths there, feeling how comfortable it is folding over your knees and your hips. So stay with that breath. I'm just spinning around so that I'm still facing the front of the room when we do our next little flow. So take a deep breath in and then press up onto all fours. Tuck your toes under, your back into your dog pose. Take your other leg in the air, so stretch it up nice and high as you breathe in. Step that foot all the way through in that big, beautiful lunge. Back knee is down or up. 3 twists with the arm. So reach the arm forward as you inhale, spin the ribs, stretch the arm, and as you exhale, bring it down. 2 more like that. So reach it forward, 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 forward. And then as you exhale, spin it all the way around and release. You've got 1 more. So reach that arm up, spin it all the way around, and then gently release that hand down. And this big, beautiful lunge as you breathe. And then drop that back knee to the ground again. Slide your hands onto your thigh. So once again, you've got the tailbone tucked under, squeezing that glute. You're pressing the hip forward and getting a beautiful hip flexor release. Long spine. These moves are really good for you, yeah? So really sort of notice if you're doing them with control. Notice if you're doing them with holding your breath. And then reach your arms, take 1 last breath in. Circle your hands down. We're going to come into a standing position. So lift your back knee and spin your foot. Be really strong. This is like our warrior. Reach forward with your front arm and peel yourself up and open. And then just check your alignment. So commonly that front knee will fall. So pull it out. bend into that knee, and then belly is on. So can you get head, ribs, and hips stacked, and the belly on, and then reach out to your arms and sink. This is our warrior. So from here, straighten everything up. Grab your hands gently and tip back over your back leg as you inhale. Then open your arms, bend that front knee up. That feels so good. Do that 2 more. So playing, exploring, make it feel good. And then exhale. So your mobility is all about how comfortably your joints move. And so these sort of practices we're doing now in and out of the movement are so good for your joints. Hold yourself, take a breath and reach forward. You're going to settle your front thigh, so your front elbow on your front thigh, and reach that arm up. So this is our extended side angle. So this is where we push down through that front heel, drive out through the back leg, and then just gently, you can still play here with the hips if that's your focus. You can play here and do some different things with the arm, of course, but you are trying to get your top shoulder blade right to the side of the rib cage when you reach forward. If you have any shoulder issues, that's such a good game to play. Take one more breath. We have that little floor moment. Spin your hands down to the ground. You're going to step that front foot and tuck it in. Tuck it in comfortably. Once again, shimmy around, make yourself feel comfortable, putting something under your hip if you need to, and then roll yourself over so you've got that hip square. You can be upright, you can be down, you can pull the heel forward a little bit, it's your choice. And then just explore that sensation. So right now, you can move the body a little bit side to side if you wish. Or you can just let your body settle on the ground in 3 quiet breaths. And see if you can build some concentration on your breath and your body. Once again, notice how hard it might be to keep your focus just on your body. Really good for stress management. Trying to control those spinny wild thoughts that sometimes distract us, and worse, sometimes stress us. Press yourself up as you breathe in and step back into your dog pose. So we're in a very similar little process again. So hold your dog pose. Once again, I'm just going to spin, so I'm going to be facing you. So start with your first leg, so right leg lifted up nice and high. And then exhale, step it all the way through. From here, take your front arm and reach it forward again into your twist as you inhale. This time as you exhale, just gently straighten that front leg. Good, now come forward and pop the knee on the ground and your hands on your front thigh. Take a breath in and lift. As you exhale, press forward. So it's going to add on a little bit here. So from here, push down through your front thigh, lift the back knee in the air. So really nice long lunge. Sink a little bit if you're comfortable. Now be aware of your back. There should be no stress in your back. Now take your left arm in the air as you inhale and tip to the front of your front leg and just feel that beautiful side stretch. So I'm going to disappear from you just for a minute. So reach your arms up as you inhale, turn to that big warrior we did before, straighten everything up and tip back. Bend your front knee as you exhale, up and back. So lift that front arm up, 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 up. Bring your hands back down to the floor again. Pick up your front foot again, tuck it in. This time a little bit different. So we've just done a little deeper twist. So take your back leg, your left leg, and spin it all the way around. Cross it over your front thigh, and you're sitting in a little twist. So take your hands behind and lift. If that's too challenging, you can take your bottom leg and straighten it out. But lift, 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 lift. So chest is open, and then grab a hold of that front knee with your opposite arm. Maybe turn toward it a little bit. You can push out through that floor leg, whatever feels comfy for you. Take one more breath in, come back to the center. So the challenge, of course, is to get out of these poses. So tuck your legs in under your hips, roll yourself forward and plant your hands, and step one foot, then the other foot back into a push-up, knees or toes. Lower yourself down to a little cobra. So pull yourself forward as you breathe in, and press up off your knees, tuck your toes, lift your hips, you're back in dog pose. Left leg, take it nice and high in the air as you breathe in. Step it all the way forward, strong as you can with the back leg. One time, reach your left arm forward as you inhale. This time, fold over a slightly straightened front leg. It's warm enough to do that. Then come forward, drop the back knee on the floor. Good, reach your hands onto your front thigh. You're back in your lunge, be really strong. Lift up, pull in your core. This is where we lift nice and high. So press down through that front thigh, lift your back knee and just sink in a beautiful long lunge. So you're going to push downwards through the back leg, lift up through the back thigh muscle, press down to your front heel. Then take your right arm, lift it and just twist to your front leg. So you've got that little sideways movement. And just feel that beautiful side body stretch. And as you breathe, deepen the hips. And then take both arms into the air for a big crescent lunge, that warrior position. So spin your feet so your back foot is flat. Lift up and take one big breath in. And then as you exhale, come forward again. Reach that arm up and over. Feel that beautiful side body stretch. And it should be feeling quite comfortable because you've done this a few times now. And then as you exhale, gently place the hands back down on the ground. Pick up your front foot again and tuck it in. Take your back leg, spin it all the way around. Get your hips square. And remember, you can straighten that bottom leg if you wish to. And you can place your top hand on your thigh. You can just sit nice and tall. You can have the hands behind you, whatever felt comfortable for you. So always nice to start a twist with a long spine, and having your fingers behind you can make that really feel extended. And then when you know you've got that, you can start to twist. So you're turning the ribs, you're not turning the belly. So square your belly off and just feel the ribs spin, 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 spin. Hopefully you're nice and warm. Always have the heater on when you're at home, so you want to be a little bit warm when you do yoga. It's kind of nice for the muscles and the joints. Take one breath in, and then that tricky moment is how do we get out of this? So cross your legs any way you can, roll yourself forward, plant your hands, step back into a nice high push-up. Take a breath in, carry yourself down, knees or toes, into your back extension as you breathe in, push off your knees, press back. We're going to pose as a child. Take a nice deep breath. So we've got a little tiny bit of a standing little series, and then some back bending, some bridges. So slide yourself up, tuck your toes, walk your feet up to your hands. You're in a forward bend, so knees can be soft or bent. You can settle yourself on your thighs with your elbows, or you can dangle, whatever feels good for you. Take a couple of breaths, starting to feel relaxation through the spine. I'm just going to spin around and face you. So bend your knees and extend them a few times. So this is just a really nice way to warm up the ankles and knees and the hips, getting ready for a chair. So what is a chair? So bend your knees and lift your head. You try and have a really long spine. Reach your arms forward. So this is our chair. So I face a little bit sideways. You see that my back is lifted, my knees are bending, my core is on, arms are reaching. So in your chair, it's such a challenge for calf flexibility. It's such a challenge for leg strength. And then it's a big challenge for your upper back to lift your arms. And then finally, how much mobility and strength do you have in your shoulders? So stand really tall as you inhale. Hold your hands and tip a little bit side to side, like we did when we were in our warrior variation. And just feel that beautiful stretch on the side of your body. And when you feel balanced on both sides, you can take your hands behind your back for your first really big focus on chest. So we're diving our fist down, and as we do that, we're not letting everything collapse. Keep your hips stacked, keep your belly on, and it's just the ribs that lift up and the shoulder blades that squeeze together. And so we've got a little balance coming up, as I was saying, and a little bit of a chest expansion at the same time. So release, bring your hands onto your hips, but pull the elbows back, so keeping your chest open. Stand on any leg you want. We're going to do both sides. I'll just come forward a little bit. So I'm going to take your right leg if you're following me in the air, and we're just in a stork pose. So this is stork. And when you come into stork, it's such a good way of seeing if you can move the thigh bone without tucking the tail under. So if you get backache and you always tuck your tail under, this is a good way of retraining the movement of that thigh bone. Take a breath. Now you've got options in this balance. You can either come into a baby tree pose with the toes on the floor. You can pick that leg up and place it on your inner thigh to tree. Or if you wish to, you can come into a figure 4 where you cross a flexed airborne foot over a bent standing leg, and you drive your hips back and your knees forward, and this is our figure 4. Now, if you're balancing and you're wobbling, that's fine. If your body's just learning how to balance. If you feel more steady, once again, take the hands behind, because remember what we're doing is we're trying to open our chest here. So lots is going on. We've got a lot of things to focus on. Stability in your standing leg, ankle, strength to your standing leg, knee, strength to your upper back, and strength in your core. And then take a breath in, release wherever you are. Maybe bring your arms in the air back to stork. We're going to stick the foot fairly close behind us and spin the foot so it's flat. So I'll turn sideways. You can see what I'm doing. So my heel is down and I'm squaring my hips off. So that means my belly button is facing forward and really push down through that back leg. This is a great one if you're a runner, because when we run, we want to have a long hip at the back and a long calf on that back leg. So either have your hands on your hips still, or possibly bring your palms down beside you. So your palms are facing forward. Pull the shoulders back and peel yourself up off that back heel. So you're in a kind of a balancing position. If that's challenging, stay there. Otherwise, bend your front knee, float your weight onto your front leg, and then without pushing off that back toe, maybe lift the leg a little bit, maybe tip until you're making an oblique line. Bottom leg can be strong and straight or strong and bent. And if you want to tip down, make more like a capital T or like an aeroplane, try not to tip through the shoulders. Bring your shoulder blades together and lift your arm bones. Pull in through the core so you've got that length through the upper back, and then gently step your feet back together again. How warm do you feel after balancing? It's always so good. Bend your knees, you're back in your chair. Have your knees facing forward, toes facing forward. Find that chair again, yeah? Maybe a little lower. So this time a bit of breath in that chair. So inhale, lift up, maybe go back. Take your elbows to an E, bend your knees, keep the elbows going all the way down to a W, so chest open. Inhale, lift up, go back if you want. Chair pose, pull the elbows, squeeze the shoulder blades, good. 2 more, inhale, lift. And then exhale. So as you sink, core is on, shoulders close. You've got 1 more. Breath in, go up, go back, elbows come in. Good. Now, once again, you can take your hands behind, you can have your hands on your hips, you can come into a stork pose on your other leg and just watch the way you picked that leg up. Can you pick that leg up just like you're opening a door hinge, yeah? The thigh bone floats forward, no movement in your lower spine. And this is where you've got lots of options. You can either have your hands on your hips, you can have your hands behind you, and from here we can come into a variation of a tree. So we can either have our little tippy toes on the ground, we can pick that leg up and place it on the inside of the thigh. How you feel with your hands behind your back, it might be too hard. Or you can do that figure 4. So the figure 4, we've got our bent leg standing, the bent knee shoots forward, and then the leg that's crossed over sometimes makes you round your back if this hip is tight. So it's the same sort of thing. Can you move the thigh bone, keeping the back really, really long, and then sit down as much as you can. Wherever you want to put your hands, maybe your focus is just getting balance in that one leg, and sometimes that can be a challenge. Take 1 or 2 more breaths. Notice how steady you are. If you fall over, actually don't really fall over. Putting your foot on the ground is not falling over. That's just putting your foot down. And then very gently release. We're going to step that leg back into what we call Warrior One. So I've turned it a little bit side on for you. So you can see my back heel, it's actually on the ground. So you press the back heel down and then square your belly button back around to your front leg. So this is like imagine you're walking, your legs go forward and back. That's the action of the hips. So everything is square. When you bend into that front leg, and then you start to feel that stretch happening in that back leg. You just feel kind of comfortable there. There should be no stress in your lower back, like in everything we've been doing. And then with your hands, you've got the option, if you want, they can stay on your hips or bring the palms, and the palms will face forward. The reason we do that is to kind of like corkscrew that arm bone open and just really feel that when you spin your arm open, the whole top of the shoulder moves backward. Can you feel that? So good for round shoulders is just to rotate the arms. From here, peel yourself forward, get really strong in your front leg and let that back heel lift. Square your hips around and bend that front leg, and maybe that's enough, or maybe shift your weight. Now you notice if you shift the weight, not pushing off that back leg, you float it up. You can stay with the bent knee of the standing leg, or you can start to straighten it. And just take a moment to check the alignment. Heel in the air, in line with hip, in line with ribs and head, and maybe tip yourself down just a little bit more and maybe make like an airplane position. But remember, if you watch me, we're really trying to avoid this. You want to get length through the spine. You want to get lift through the arms. And then as you exhale, step your feet back together. Hopefully you feel good. We're going to take ourselves down to the ground, do a bit of back work. So lower yourself down, spin yourself onto your back. So in back work, we're going to have our feet facing forward and do a couple of bridges. Bridges are great, and in strength training, the focus on the bridge is always the glutes. And in yoga, it's twofold. It's actually opening the chest and strengthening your glutes. But if you have some back issues, you can focus just on the strength of the glutes if you wish to. So drive your heels into the floor, lengthen your spine, and just gently pull your belly in. So you want some control from the core. Lift your hips in the air, peel your spine up, and you're in a bridge. So if you want to do the focus on glute strength, you drop your ribs and you lift your hips and squeeze your backside muscles strongly, pressing your heels into the ground. If you want to make it more of a chest opening bridge, you can take your hands and hold them underneath your tail, then squeeze your shoulder blades together. And this time the ribs will lift just a little bit higher. And then if you're here, don't turn your head so you've got no stress in the neck. But just go on a walkabout, press down through both feet evenly, squeeze both glutes evenly, pull the shoulder blades together if you're in a yoga bridge, not too much weight on the head, and see if your breath can stay smooth. I've got one more breath in. If you're holding hands, release your shoulders and let yourself roll back down. Everyone. Excellent. So you're just rolling yourself back down. That's great. When you get back down, hug your knees into your chest. This is your lying on the back pose of a child, yeah? So feel free to move around a little bit. And if you feel much of a stretch in your back in this position, your back needs a stretch. So some of the movements we do in yoga should just feel comfortable, like this one. If you feel this in your knees, then you need to do a bit more strength for your knees. A little bit more stretching maybe around your quads. That's a common area that needs stretching for knees. And then let's do another little bridge. So have your feet flat again. Push down to your heels. Squeeze your backside muscle. Lift yourself up, 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 up. Either stay here and focus on ribs down, hips up, and feel the strength of your glutes. And if you'd like to, you could even do some lifting and lowering if you want to get a little bit dynamic in the glute. If you want to stay up into a yoga bridge, you'll hold hands, you'll shimmy your shoulders together, and you just close your eyes and breathe. So wherever you are right now, just revisit how good your body feels. And you're coming to the end of your practice. So by the end of the practice, you want to check whether you've made your body feel good. So once again, release wherever you are, roll yourself back down and draw your knees back into your chest. Roll around a little bit if you wish to. So yoga traditionally finishes with Shavasana, and Shavasana is a resting pose, which is just so good if you're getting a little bit stressed. But sometimes if you're stressed, it's really hard to be still. So we're going to come into a twist. So straighten out your left leg and take your right leg over your left leg. Tip yourself all the way onto your side, and with your other arm, reach it away in a beautiful mind twist. So close your eyes here. Just feel that top rib cage expand as you inhale. Just feel the restriction in your breath, and maybe at the top of that inhale, have a little breath hold. Just kind of feel the air pushing against the tightness of the ribs. Exhale fully and let yourself soften. So take the stress out of the muscle. See if you can learn to switch your muscles off, as well as learn to switch your muscles on. And that's one of the really good things about yoga, is that we're learning to switch muscles on for strength and then to switch them off as well. Gently come back through the middle. When you come back through the middle, change sides. So you've got your twist on the other side. And there's heaps of variations of twisting, and always feel free to play, finding your own one. I like to have a fairly long spine, and I think that's always a safe thing to have, is to try and elongate your spine whenever you're rotating it. And so the neck rotates the most of the spine, the ribs rotate a lot, and the lower back does not rotate very much. So never force the rotation from your lower back. And then close your eyes again, take a couple of deep breaths. When you're ready, you're going to roll back over onto your back and settle yourself into a really comfortable still pose. So Shavasana, your legs are relaxing and your arms face palms up, and your body is really being still on the ground. And if you have just a minute to focus on stillness, I encourage you to. So close your eyes, let your body soften. Just know that what you've done in the last 45 minutes is so useful. Your muscles, your joints, your breath, your mind. And sometimes it's amazing how relaxed you can get in just a minute. And so know that you don't have to have a really long relaxation to get the benefit. So thank you so much for participating. I hope your bodies feel good. As I said, my name is Claire. Feel free to catch me up and ask me any questions. It's wonderful to have you here this morning. Enjoy the rest of your day.